All right, let's cut the fluff. If you're newly homeless, fresh out on the streets, maybe you're in your car or crashing on couches, I'm going to tell you one thing no shelter or social worker is ever going to tell you. It's not just about food or a bed or staying safe anymore. It's about getting connected digitally. If you ain't online, you're invisible, period.
Look at this.
If it wasn't for YouTube, I probably would still be homeless right now. This video is for new homeless, the ones who still have some fight, maybe a phone, maybe a plan, maybe not. I'm going to break down why going digital isn't a luxury. It's survival in the modern homeless era. Back in the day, surviving on the street meant finding food, water, or shelter. That was the holy trinity. But now, add Wi-Fi to that list or you're going to stay stuck. One of the things that I've had to learn this time being homeless is when you're going out there and you're looking for jobs. Yeah, there was a lot of jobs out there to be able to get interviews and everything else like that. You have to have some form of digital connection. Not only that, showing up for the interview and everything like that, they do still discriminate, not as much as they used to, against being homeless. And getting into the digital economy is the one way to be able to get work without being discriminated against. Shelters want you to check in through an app. Aid programs, online forms, gig jobs, it's all digital. If you don't have any internet, you don't exist. And I think that is going to be the hardest thing for the average homeless person to wrap their head around, because a lot of them are going to end up becoming homeless because they didn't adapt to technology to begin with. But here's the thing. The way that technology is becoming part of our everyday life, including our corporate life, our workforce, and everything else like that, instead of trying to fight against the grain, this is one of those where you're going to have to just go along to get along, which means you're just going to have to get over your hangups. You don't need the best tech. You just need a foot in the door, a signal, a working screen, and a little bit of hustle. The great thing about being homeless is that you learn how to be a really good hustler. Some of us take better to it than others. Those that are good hustlers usually have a better life. So if you're a hustler already, just take that same hustle and put it into online, and you'll make more than you ever did at any job. You'll make more than you did panhandling, and you'll make more than you did off of a lot of the other things that you did, because you're taking your hustle, and instead of putting it towards going and hustling people out of their money, you're taking something legitimate and you're using that hustle to make you some money. Let me say this out loud. Digital money is the cleanest escape route from homelessness right now. No heavy lifting, no broken backs, just brains and bandwidth. So do you have what it takes to get up off your feet and end your homelessness? I've made money doing things like survey sites, website testing, selling AI-generated postcards, proofreading gigs, creating YouTube content, affiliate marketing. There's so many different ways that you can make money. And here's the thing. This is going to give you an opportunity to move in a different direction. You're going to, instead of going and creating a resume, your resume is now going to be your brand. And if you create a good brand online, you'll never have to worry about homelessness ever, ever, ever again. This isn't get rich quick. It's get off the ground slow. But digital work doesn't care where you live or what you smell like. If you deliver, you win. That's the great thing about being in the digital economy, is that if you have issues with getting to a shower, or you need to skip a shower for a day, if you go to a job, you could lose your job over that. Whereas if you have to prioritize your digital hustle over certain other things some days, just because you have good days and you have bad days, you're not going to have to face the consequences of the homeless lifestyle like you would if you had a job, because you'd have to make sure you had a shelter. You have to make sure that you had clean clothes on every day. You'd have to make sure that you got a shower every single day. And in the digital economy, that's not nearly as important as it has been in the general workforce. So it's going to give you a lot more flexibility and the ability to maneuver around and adapt to your circumstances so that you can get off the streets quicker instead of staying on there 6, 9, 12 months, more than a couple of years, because the longer you're out on the streets, the harder it is to get off. And here's the mind blower. If you really get this next point, your whole life is going to change. No address, no problem. The digital world doesn't care where you sleep. This is where the game flips. You don't need a mailing address to have a digital identity. You don't need a house to make money online. You don't need to look the part to win in this world. Because here's the thing, if you're homeless, you can go get a free phone as part of being homeless. It's part of the Lifeline program. They call them Obama phones, but this was actually started under the Reagan administration. And when they stopped doing landlines, they switched to cell phones, which therefore started to benefit the homeless community. So you'll have access to a free phone. And if you go to the library, especially if you're in an urban area, you're able to get a lot of work done. That's what I used to do when I was in Cincinnati or any of the big cities. I go hang out in the library. I would go into one of their study rooms. I would do my recordings and I would sit there on a computer, do my research. And if I needed to, I could sit there on my phone because they only give you so much time on a computer. But this is the way that the new homeless situation is going to be. If you're going to be homeless now, moving forward, the days of being able to go and get a brick and mortar job are quickly going away because the workforce is being automated in various ways. A lot of people are going to end up homeless to begin with, you most likely, because your job got automated along the process, or they just no longer found a need for you because they were cutting overhead so that they could save costs, so that they could have more profit, so that their shareholders could make more money while you're stuck just living off of menial wages because you're not able to adapt. So this is your one and only opportunity to adapt, because if you don't, you're going to be homeless for a very, very, very long time. Start calling yourself a mobile entrepreneur, or even a homeless entrepreneur, a digital outlaw, a rebel nomad, because the system will bury you if you play by the rules. And a lot of people are concerned, especially in the homeless community, oh, I got to spend all this time to build it up to get it monetized. The cool thing about being in the digital economy is that the old rules of, oh, just waiting to get monetized don't really apply anymore. People with 500 subscribers, 100 subscribers, 50 subscribers are making hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month because they came on, they started doing their hustle, and they weren't waiting for something like the YouTube partner program or the Facebook partner program or TikTok or Instagram or all these different partner programs that are out there. They went out there, they got themselves affiliate links, they got themselves different ways to use like PayPal, Venmo, Cash App as a way to be able to collect money in your tip jar as you're willing, or as you are moving yourself forward. So if you're out here right now hurting, unsure, look, I get it. I've been colder than cold, hungrier than hungry, but if you've got a phone, you've got a shot. What most people don't realize is that you have the ability to start a business. Normally, to start a business, you would have to have all this startup capital. You'd have to form an LLC. You'd have to form this. You'd have to do this. You have to get these certifications. You have to make sure you're compliant with regulations. It would take a big startup cost. But with artificial intelligence being able to be used as a free employee to be able to help you along the way, with your ability to go out there and market yourself and create a following, and then use your following as a way to be able to monetize what it is that you do, the barrier for entry and the opportunity for success is much, the barrier for entry is much lower, but the opportunity for success is much higher than it ever has been before. So this is the digital rebellion. This is how we fight back when the world says we're nothing. That's Dirt Rebel. Go homestead the damn future, and I'll see you inside. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.